Hey guys, how's it going? So today's video is basically dedicated to digging holes out in the garden. We recently just planted all of our spring flowering bulbs like tulips and daffodils, and there were a few other things. We did a little over 3,000, and in that video I showed you a couple of different augers. So that's basically what I want to talk to you about today. Like, I want to show you all the different sizes, talk about why they're good, and why they're helpful to me. There are several different ways like to plant bulbs, and I went over that in the video, you know, like the little hand tool. You can also do the trench method where you dig up a big section, move the soil, and then line up all your bulbs and then plant back over the top, which I do not find to be efficient. Like, it is the hardest thing to do, to dig a 6-inch hole, like the whole distance. We did it up in our front cutouts by our front doorway, and I just was like, never again. I'm only using augers, even if I'm doing a big area, because it's such a pain, because like, where do you put your dirt? And that gets really heavy, and a lot of times we garden very clean most of the time and very tight. Like, this is a very open space, and that's why we decided to do this video here, because there's no drip tubings or anything here, but everywhere else there's drip tubings and plants all over the place, so it's really hard to do the trench method. So augers have always just worked better for me. So as we were getting ready to put together our bulb planting video, Power Planter, a company that makes these augers, sent us out a few of these to try out, which was really nice because you can really see a huge difference between what a power planter looks like and my old bulb augers. Right over here. This is what I had been using prior to this year's bulb planting. And it was really nice of them to send these out. We're not working with them on this video. In fact, they got us because Aaron went out and bought a couple of really big ones to do some other projects, so they made plenty of money on us. And we're also not working with DeWalt on this video either. I'm just hoping this is a helpful video because this really has helped me out a lot, makes the job go a lot faster, and it's a lot easier on my body to use the auger. So let's start with this one right here. This is a 2-inch diameter by 7 inches. You can see that this one and this one are the two I used the most. I used this for a lot of the smaller size tulips. There were, what else did I plant? Trout lilies, I don't know. You'll have to watch the video. There were a lot of them, but I use this a lot because it digs like a perfectly deep hole for a tulip, for most tulip bulbs. Now this one is a 3x7 right here, which I feel like is a better size for your bigger. This is the only type of bulb I have left that I haven't planted yet. These are going in containers. These daffodils, most of them come like kind of good size. I've got 2 of them here. So your 2-inch auger is not going to dig a big enough hole for a standard-ish sized daffodil bulb. And then we've got 2 more 3-inch diameters. One's 12 inches and one is 24 inches. Now, I thought when I was very first starting the planting, I thought this one was going to be much better because it's longer, so I wouldn't have to be down on my hands and knees. I honestly don't think that this one rivals a shorter one because you're still bent over. It's not tall enough to like stand and make your holes. You still have to kind of hunker over it because you have to keep the drill steady. So unless you have a helper, I feel like this one, I don't know, I would maybe opt for a 12-inch size so that you can get all your bulbs, your fertilizer, your drill with your auger, and you can just get on your knees and do everything all at one time and then pick everything up and move to your next area. And that way you're not up and down, up and down. When we were planting our big allium bulbs, this is the one I used, but I had Chris helping me. So I dug the holes and he went behind me and popped all the bulbs in. So I didn't have to get up and down, and neither did he. So that works out if you have a helper. But if I were to recommend like just one of these for you to buy, I would probably, even though I used this one a lot, if you were only going to do one, I would get a 3-inch diameter. That way you could do both tulips and daffodils with it. So either the 7 or the 12-inch, I would say would be a good, I don't know, kind of a midway. But if you are going to buy 2, you can see that I used this one a lot. And I used this one. I think this one I just used for the alliums though. It just kind of like wore it down in terms of like the black paint, which is no big deal. I don't even need to have them black, but I would probably do a 2-inch and then one of the shorter 3-inch if you were to buy 2. Now you can see the difference. Look at this. Look at the difference in strength. My old one, which this is probably dirt from my last garden before we moved. I haven't used this one for a while. And this one came about the same length, a little bit longer, and then I attached it to this. I don't even remember doing that to make it longer so I didn't have to bend over as much. But again, it didn't really add enough height for me to not have to bend over. Like, I had to still hunker. And then this is a 3-inch, but I bent it the last time I used it. It's like not quite straight. So you can tell like the difference right here. in where it attaches into your drill, because these go through a lot, especially if you have really hard, heavy soil or you're hitting a lot of rocks. Something that's a little bit more hefty might be better. Now for this size of auger right here, we just use our drill. I did notice it was kind of not a common comment, but I noticed a few times people said, like, I got the auger because I saw it in the video, and the first time I used it, it twisted my wrist, which it can if there's a few things. If you're not using the right drill, or you don't have the drill in the right settings, or, you know, sometimes it'll still want to happen. So you need to be aware of that, because, you know, drills can be very powerful. So the first thing you need to have is one of these handles right here. Not all drills come with them, so if you're in the market to buy a new drill, just check to make sure that it has one, because this extra stability that this gives by holding onto it is, like, I don't think I would be able to use the drill without this for bulb planting now. So that's really handy. Also, the power and clutch settings are very important. So right here, you want to make sure every drill will have like numbers, or it'll say high and low. We keep it on 1 on the lowest, and then up here there's different settings, and again, every drill would be different. You just want to make sure you do not have it on the drill setting, because what will happen is if you've got it on the drill setting and your auger meets resistance, the motor won't stop, and that's when it'll want to flip the drill around. It's happened to me before. It flipped around and hit me in the knee one year, and it took me down on the ground. Like, it hurt pretty bad. But that's before I had really had a lot of experience, before I had a handle and I didn't know anything about these settings. So what you want to do, and you can play around with this, depending on what your soil's like, you can start at the lowest number, number 1, and just see how much your drill can do through your soil, and then just kick it up in power a little bit more at a time, just to see how deep you can go. For me, I usually put it on the very highest I can without it being on the drill setting, so that's really important. I know I've already talked about all of these things in our bulb planting video, but I think it's kind of important to, like, it bears repeating because they're easy things to forget, and since I was talking about augers, I just wanted to make sure to mention that. I'm going to put the auger on the drill real quick. Okay, now I'm going to put the power setting at 1. Clutch. I want to call it torque too. Torque and power, but never clutch. I'm going to move over here. I have no idea what this is like deeper, so we'll see. Yeah. So when it meets a little bit more resistance, it won't go down past that, so it won't flip your drill around. Now, let me do, like, let's do 6. You can already hear it goes a lot faster. Yep. So yeah, I could feel it. It was trying to work through the heavy layer a little bit harder than it was at 1, and then we'll try it on 11. And I got all the way through it on setting 11. Now, so if I had it on the drill setting and I actually hit like a rock or something, it would still want to keep going through and it wouldn't stop, and that's when it would kick your drill around. So anyway, I hope that demonstration was helpful. Now let's move on to the bigger augers, because that's exciting. So just to be clear, because everybody's drill is different, the clutch setting right here, which is near the end of the drill, has nothing to do with the amount of power the drill has. It only has to do with how much resistance the drill will try to get through. Right here is where the power setting is. It's not really power, it's speed. So we've got it on the lowest speed, and then I typically have mine on the highest clutch setting. All right, so now I want to try out, well, we've already tried out, Aaron and I took this 7-inch auger out into the pasture in front of us and just dug a couple holes to see how it worked, and it worked really well. I want to try it out though, well, to show you, one, how to dig the hole, but I also want to see if this size of container will fit down in a hole like this. Now this drill is different than the one obviously that we just used. This is a stud and joist drill, so it's much more powerful. It is heavier and bigger. This is going to be our dedicated auger drill. You can find augers, like augers are a common thing. You can find them at any box store, hardware store. They usually have a motor on top. It's gas operated, and it looks like the top of a weed eater. We wanted electric though, and Aaron actually emailed the owner of Power Planter just to thank him, you know, for sending out the power planters that they did. And then he asked him for recommendations on if we wanted to do electric to get some bigger ones, what he would suggest, and he suggested this one. So far we're happy with it. And you know, it's the batteries. We already have a bunch of batteries from DeWalt because we have a lot of their tools, so it works out nice. Again, this has the nice handle here. I'm just gonna dig a hole, see how this goes. So with that hole right there, I didn't push at all. All I did was held onto the drill, and that's what it did. And it did take a little bit longer. So let's move over here. And I want to do one where I'm pushing a little bit on the drill, and we'll see how quick it is, because that's the point. We want to make it more efficient and less work on our bodies. So here we go. That is a perfect size hole right there, and that was a lot quicker. So it does kick soil, you know, around it, but honestly, like, we make a mess with our soil when we dig a hole with a shovel. Now let me grab that 1 gallon size can. I want to see if it fits in this hole. This is White Wands Veronica. It still had some color on it in the greenhouse. So it fits perfect with about, it looks like 1 inch on each side. But what you can do, there is a 9-inch auger if you wanted to get something that made a little bit bigger of a hole. What you can do is put the auger back down in the hole and kind of like rock it from side to side. You can also dig 3 holes right together, or aug 3 holes right together if you want to do a bigger can. It will kick some of that loose soil back down in there, so you might need to pop that up when you get down to plant your plant. But the wonderful thing about it is that when you're backfilling, all this soil is loose and crumbly and beautiful. You don't have big dirt clods, because when if I came up here to dig a hole with a shovel, it would come out in like a chunk. We have clay. It's not heavy clay, but it is like, it will hold a form. And so oftentimes I'm down here like breaking up clods of soil so that I can get them around the root balls. So this just makes the process really nice. Okay, so I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. So I kicked a little bit of soil in there, and that's all I have to do to get it out. And that did make the hole a little bit bigger all the way around. So it already fit before with enough room to backfill around it properly, but if you had a little bit bigger can, you could do what I just did, just to make the hole a little bit bigger without much work. And you can do that the first time you do the hole. If you go in knowing that the can is a little bit bigger and you need to make that hole bigger to accommodate the plant. But so I'm not actually planting this, but like to backfill, it's just so beautiful. I mean, who doesn't want soil like that? It's so pretty. So this auger right here is probably not something you would get out to, you know, plant one thing. But if you're planting 20 white wands in an area, how quick would it be just to aug the holes out really quick, and then you could just go through and plant them quick? That's what we do in this area. In fact, I want to try out the smaller auger and see if the little can fits down in the hole, because we plant annuals in this spot every summer, and I've been hand digging with the little trowel every single year, and I really don't want all of that work this next year. So let me show you. I've got this beautiful lemon coral sedum right here, and this is the type of can that we're dealing with most of the time. So I'm going to use the 3-inch auger here. We'll dig a hole. Let's do it right here. Again, I'm not actually planting this, but if it's down in there, it feels like there's about a 1/2 inch around the can. So you can just pop your plant in and you're done. So nice. And I honestly don't know what took us so long. Like, I've been using bulb augers for years now, but it never dawned on me to get the right size to do 4-inch cans or the right size to do bigger plants. And we plant a lot of things around here, so that's really going to alleviate a lot of work. Like when Aaron and I planted all the boxwoods, the sprinter boxwoods on the west side, we did that by hand and it took a long time. And we've got some pretty good sized projects where we're going to be doing a lot more boxwoods this next spring. So knowing that, you know, half of the work is taken out of the project just makes you attack things with a lot more, I don't know, happiness. It's happy when it doesn't take as much physical work to get it done. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because, I mean, making the job easier just makes gardening that much more fun. So I would venture to assume that most households have a drill like this. This is kind of a standard issue drill right here. So something like this, an auger this size, and we'll put the price on the screen, might be a good investment for those of you doing a lot of, you know, 4-inch size cans or bulbs, things like that. The bigger one is definitely not for everybody because it really depends on the scale of your projects, how often you think you'll use it. Because, for example, this drill was $250 without batteries. Luckily, we have a lot of batteries around here. So the batteries are fairly expensive as well. And then the 7-inch auger was $130. The 5-inch auger was $92. So for us, it's a good investment because it saves us a ton of time. It saves us a lot of physical work. And when we're planning on hopefully doing this for a very long time, planting things and being out in the garden, we need to treat our bodies as best as we can to keep us healthy and strong and not worn out. So I just wanted to mention that because I don't necessarily recommend that everybody goes out and buys something like this unless it makes sense for you. But something on the smaller end might be a good investment for a lot of you guys. Honestly, I mean, it's helped me out so much. So anyway, I just wanted to bring all this stuff out here, dig some holes, show you how we're planning on doing it, and definitely like wait until next spring because we're really going to be using these augers a lot, and we'll probably be able to tell you toward the end of spring, beginning of summer, how much we've liked them. Because obviously these are brand new. We haven't put them through the paces yet in terms of planting like 100 things all at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see, and you guys will be able to watch it. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel and you'll be able to see all those projects this coming spring. There are going to be a lot of fun ones. So anyway, hope this video was helpful. We'll link to everything down below in case you want to check out anything, any details, any prices, and all of that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.